We have got two more questions. One, Pakistan has been okayed to get some US missiles. I think those are AMRAAMs. If you could educate on us on that.
Ali, AMRAAM is the missile that was designed for USAF's long-range interceptions.
Okay.
AMRAAM means Advanced Medium Range Air-to-Air Missile, right? And AMRAAM 120 was the missile that um, the Americans were using. And the longest shot before May 2025, which they had at 100 kilometers, was by AMRAAM, and that was known as 120D. Uh, the missile that the Americans gave to us with the upgraded F-16s was AIM 120C5, right? And now what they have done is that as the world is improving, as the other countries are also building better missiles, like the French have built the Meteor, the Chinese have built the PL-15. So they also wanted to improve upon their missile for their aircraft. And they improved upon the AIM 120, which is the AMRAAM. And now they have two more versions, which is known as C8 and D3, right? So it is AMRAAM C5 we had, and now they are going to give us C8 and AMRAAM D3. These are the missiles which have a range of something like 180 kilometers, the same range as the PL-15. And they can only be at this very moment put on the upgraded F-16s that we have. But now think of it. Pakistan flying, the SD-10, the PL-12 and the PL-15s on J-10s and JF-17s, right? And with their AMRAAMs, which is something like the D8 and the C8, D3 and the C8 have a range of something like 150 to 180 kilometers. You know, so we will have a large fleet of aircraft which have a range bigger than the range of the best missile which India has, that is Meteor on the Rafales. So, in case of an aerial conflict today and for the future, for the near future, I would say, let's say another 1 to 2 years, the best in case of an aerial conflict, the first missile will always be fired by the Pakistan Air Force, meaning thereby that the Pakistan Air Force would be putting the Indian Air Force on the defensive, like we showed them. Now add other domains like satellite and cyber and other domains into it, and we have shown them that how can we do a silent kill also without using our radars, right? So we have shown them the capability that if a missile has the capability to hit at, let's say, 200 kilometers, which PL-15 can, then we also have this capability of hitting the target at 200 kilometers. For that, you need to, let's say, to have an impact at 200 kilometers, you have to fire when the distance between the two aircraft is 250 kilometers and more to have an impact point somewhere in between, right? So Pakistan Air Force has shown that yes, we can hit you so far away. Now, that is why I was saying in the initial part of your podcast was that what has India done to turn these tables on us? We still have that edge over them. Yes, the C8 and the D3 have not been delivered to us now. The American Congress has cleared them for Pakistan. It may take a few months more for them to come. But whatever inventory we have as of today, the first shoot capability stays with the Pakistan Air Force. So what have you done today that you think that you can turn the tables on us? In a sub-conventional warfare which is not expected to last for more than 3 to 4 days. you see, when you go into the dynamics and the strategy of a conventional and a non-conventional and a sub-conventional, then, employment of forces and other things, they start to matter. But in a sub-conventional domain where the conflict is not expected to last more than 3 to 5 days, then the number of weapons you have actually becomes not an important factor, because both the parties can employ their max, weapons in a very short time, right? And that is where our edge is. And we have shown them that, we are not the ones that will ever take Indian aggression with our heads down. We Up till now, let's say, let me give you another figure, and I think that will make you a very proud Pakistani. 54 years have passed, and India has not shot down a single Pakistani aircraft in the last 54 years. And we have shot down somewhere between 11 to 14 Indian aircraft, right? So what has changed? But have you ever seen any Pakistani boasting about it? Because wars are not good. Both India and Pakistan have bigger issues to handle,
True that.
right? We make strong forces not to wage wars. We make strong forces not to fight. You know? And if we make strong forces and yet fight, then I think uh, it's not a very wise thing that we will be doing in this part of the world.
As you mentioned that, how can first of all, the weather isn't suitable, neither on ground nor in the sea. That then it remains the Indian Army, the Indian Air Force, and then after that you said there's no upgradation in the Indian Air Force, so that also is highly unlikely. But there is an upgradation with the Pakistani side. That is that Pakistan is into an agreement with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. If anything kicks off, what would it look like? According to your opinion, what will happen if, in any case, something goes on between India and Pakistan? How would you expect Saudi Arab to react on this?
I think this would be the question that would have been discussed in detail between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Because we must not forget that Indians have a lot of stake in Saudi Arabia.
True.
Their biggest foreign remittances, they come from the Gulf, which is something like above 64 billion, right? And most of it comes from Saudi Arabia. They have over, I think, a million Indians working in Saudi Arabia. So we must have discussed this thing in detail, which I think we have. And the Saudis should have given us this assurance that in case of a conflict with anyone, they would be standing shoulder to shoulder with us. And this is one of the reasons why I think that the Indians will be very, afraid of going into a conflict with Pakistan. Why? Because if their people are repatriated from Saudi Arabia, they will have a big loss on their foreign remittance, as well as, jobs that they have in the Gulf, because Saudi Arabia will not be alone, right? So I think Pakistan has done a a great thing by signing this strategic agreement with Saudi Arabia, and we have given a type of a uh, sovereign guarantee to Saudi Arabia that nobody can touch you. So if Saudi Arabia has to pay that price for us, I'm sure this must have been discussed in detail. I'm very positive that Saudi Arabia would be standing with us, because such situations with both the countries can happen. Like, there are certain uh, you know, friends of ours who are not seeing eye to eye with Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia too has certain friends which we do not look eye to eye with each other. So when we sign a strategic agreement with them, we have been having a defense agreement with them since the late 70s with Saudi Arabia. So from a defense agreement, if we have gone to a strategic defense agreement, it means that we have given them a lot of surety. And you see, you will be very, I'm sure you must have seen into it also, that the West, and especially the Americans, did not object to this defense deal at all. And neither did Russia or China, right? Nobody passed a negative opinion or a negative remark on this defense deal because everybody thought that this was something good, for both the countries. So I really think that the Saudis uh, will stand shoulder to shoulder with us in case of a foreign. If India, does something which is illogical and irrational. But Ali, let me say one thing more over here. This also puts us under a lot of responsibility and pressure too, because we cannot do ourselves, anything which is considered irrational or illogical by the world, because nothing will be hidden from, from our friends or our foes. Right. So the Pakistan also has to behave in such a mature way that people have more faith in you as a regional security stabilizer than they see you as a country which is creating unrest and upheaval in an area where people are wanting to improve their economies, to improve the life of their people.
So it is so
Right.
it's
So
yeah.
both the Pakistan also, in my view, has to behave very responsibly.
Hmm. So it's so very fruitful always talking to you because you come in with both experiences. You were also an ambassador in Syria. You have this eye of looking at things from a different level. So taking that forward, how would you think that the international community will respond if India goes on with some escalation? How would, because we have had a talk with Saudi Arabia about Saudi Arabia, what else would you think the international community? Let's start from America. How do you think that America would see all this?
Till the time Mr. Trump is there, um, I think the first reaction would be that they are big boys, they'll sort out among themselves. The first comment he gave when, on the 5th of May. Right? So I expect the first comment to be that. Um, But you see, I've been saying repeatedly in this podcast that, the world today is no more the world uh, we saw 20, 25 years ago. Today, it's an open world. Everyone knows what the other country or the other person is doing, right? So, unfortunately, for Indians and fortunately for us, since May 2025, the world looks with suspicion at India and with respect towards us, right? They respect us because in that conflict, we not only won that conflict, victory has its own friends, but they also saw that Pakistan was a country which behaved very maturely. We did our diplomacy very well. We did our media was very responsible. Whatever you people were saying, people were agreeing to that. You people were not spinning things as the Indian media was trying to do it. And everything what they said, the world realized they were telling lies. Right. So nobody likes a country or a person who tells lies and is not dependable. So, unfortunately for India and fortunately for us, today the world looks at us as a far better country than India. But again, Tahir, I will say, Ali, that, these are fleeting moments in history. Things don't remain constant in real politics. At the end of the day, it is the benefit that one country can give to the other. We should also not forget that India is a very big country of 1.4 billion people, meaning thereby that it's a big market for countries which are looking for markets abroad, right? So we have to be very intelligent in from how we behave for the next 15 to 20 years. We have to create that. We are also a big country with 250 million people, right? So we have to create that environment within our country that there are economic stakes of important capitals in Pakistan. If Pakistan and India go to war and something happens to Pakistan, there is a great economic loss to certain capitals in the world. And that is where we must be concentrating, and we are concentrating. And like I said, that Pakistan has moved ahead and we are now working in our economic domain. So if we play our cards well, we have the world interested in our country, not only on the on the defense level, but also on the economic and political level. Then yes, we will move forward. So in my view, Pakistan also has a big responsibility of not entering into a conflict for the next 15 to 20 years. We should just put our head down, like we put our head down in the defense field, and improve upon our economy, make things better for our people, and make the world respect us by bringing in their investment into the country. And once they bring in their investment, we should be seen as good people to do business with. Right? So we have a big responsibility now. These were the things we never thought about, 6 months earlier. But God has given us an opportunity, and I wish and pray, Ali, with you that we do not waste this opportunity. Because these are fleeting moments. They come, momentarily. Those who benefit will reap the fruit, and those who do not benefit, will suffer the consequences.